Hi guys! Oh my god, it's been forever since I've done a video. I'm really sorry I didn't finish up my pregnancy vlogs. I just got really overwhelmed with school and I just didn't have the time. I feel like this video is going to be super long, so I'm not going to try and do a whole intro thing, but basically, obviously by now I had the baby. It is March and I was due in February, so that'd be kind of great. I guess this video is going to be an update and I guess my birth story? I don't know. I mean, my mom did film my labor, but I don't have that footage. And I'm not sure I'm going to put it up because it's a little crazy. But yeah, I just want to get into it because the baby's sleeping and he's probably going to wake up soon. But that's what happens. So my original due date was February 23rd. And I gave birth on the 28th, so I was overdue. When I went to the hospital I was 40 weeks and 4 days, but I gave birth the next day, so when I gave birth I was 40 weeks, 5 days, essentially 41 weeks. So on Wednesday the 27th I woke up at 3 in the morning and I had to pee. As usual, if you're pregnant you know you have to pee all the time, so it's nothing new. My boyfriend was sleeping over because I had told him that he should sleep over that week because I didn't know when I was going to go into labor and I didn't want to be by myself, so he was there with me. He was sleeping, so I couldn't get out of the bed the normal way I get out, which is just kind of roll over to the other side because he was there. So I had to scoot myself to the edge of the bed because my bed's next to the wall. I had to scoot myself on my butt with my legs, the only way I could explain it, to the end of the bed. And as I was doing that I kind of felt like a gush and I was like, what the hell? I don't know, I didn't really think about what it was. As I said, it was 3 in the morning and I was half asleep, so I don't know. I just felt a gush and I was like, whatever. I went to the bathroom and I did see some stuff. I don't know what to go into so detailed because it's YouTube, it's gonna be kind of gross. I don't know, but basically you know, you have basically in pregnancy you need to wear panty liners. When you're pregnant you'll understand. So on the panty liner I did see some stuff, but I don't know, I didn't really think of it. I just chalked it off as normal pregnancy things and whatever. Went to the bathroom, went back to bed. At 5 o'clock in the morning I woke up because I had to pee again, and the same thing, as I was moving I felt the gush. Again, didn't think anything of it. Now looking back I'm like, what am I, stupid? How did I not realize? But yeah, so I didn't think anything of it, went back to bed. I woke up at 7 something because I had school that day because I am full-time in school. So I woke up and I was getting ready for school and I don't know, I just didn't feel like going. It wasn't necessarily sick. I didn't feel sick. I wasn't that tired. I don't know, just something just told me not to go. I don't know, whatever. So I didn't go to school. I went back to bed. At 11 o'clock I woke up again and I felt the gush again, and when I went to the bathroom I saw the panty liner had stuff in it and I was like, wait a second, could this be my water leaking? And I don't know, I mean, every time you hear about someone's water breaking you instantly think of a huge gush of liquid coming out. So I guess that's why it didn't hit me, but until at 11 o'clock in the morning. So then I was like, oh my god, could this be my water? I was like, holy crap. So I called my mom and I told her and she was like, yeah, you should call your midwife. So I was like, oh my god, this is insane. So I called my midwife and she was actually with a patient. So the receptionist was like, you know, explain to me what's going on and then we'll call you back, you know. So I told her what happened and she was like, okay, I'll have her call you back. So within 15 minutes or so, 15-20 minutes, she called back and I explained to her what happened, even though I told the receptionist, you know, whatever. She still was like, oh, so what's going on? So I told her what happened and she was like, are you group B strep positive? Which I am. I don't know, did I say that in a video before previously? I don't know, but basically I had the group B strep, which is basically, it's normal, it's not a big deal. Some women have it, some women don't. If you do have it, when you go to the hospital you just need to get an antibiotic before you give birth so that the baby doesn't get it. Basically, I'm group B strep positive. So when she asked me I was like, yes, and she's like, yeah, you need to go to the hospital now, that's your water. And I was like, oh my god. So obviously I told my boyfriend, hello, we need to go. of course he's like, oh, I wanted a shower. I'm like, what the hell? Like, we need to go to the hospital, you want a shower? Like, are you kidding? But I let him shower because I need to pack some stuff anyway. Like, I had a bag partially packed, but I don't know, in my head I just wasn't like thinking it was anytime soon, even though I was already overdue. I don't know, whatever. So he got in the shower, I finished packing up stuff, and we walked to the hospital. It's only like 7 or 8 blocks away from my house, and walking is good for labor anyway, so we just walked. Of course, it was like raining out. I was like, what the hell? The one day that I need to walk to the hospital, it's like raining and it was like cold, but I was like sweating inside my jacket, I think because I was just nervous and whatever, I don't know. So we get to the hospital, and I have to fill out this paperwork stuff, you know, whatever, and they were like taking so long. They were just taking forever to look at my paperwork, and like the 2 people were like chatting it up, like talking about their food that was downstairs, the delivery guy, and I was like, kidding me? Like, I'm about to give birth, like, let's go. So they finally got me into triage, and it's funny because there was like 5 different midwives in my practice, and I met all of them more than once except for this one midwife, and when I met her I didn't like her. I was like, I hope she's not the one that's at the hospital, because I don't know, she was just not very like warm and like nice. Like, you know, she didn't give me that feel like all the other midwives gave me. Of course, I get to triage, midwife comes in, who is it? The one I didn't want. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, this is the one, like, of all the days, this is the one I get. Like, I was so pissed. I was like, great, that's gonna be a terrible experience. So, yeah, basically she's there, she checks me, and she's like, oh, you're only a fingertip dilated, and your cervix is like high. And I was like, what? Because the week before, okay, because I was having my appointments every Thursday, the Thursday before that, okay, they said that I was 3 centimeters dilated and 70% effaced, I believe. So how the hell did I get from that to being a fingertip dilated? I was like, what? And I didn't say anything because I was just like, I hate this lady, I don't even want to talk to her. So she told me that, and she was like, you know, we're gonna put you on Cervidil to get things started since you're group B strep positive and your water technically broke at 3 a.m. You've already, you know, had all these hours where your water has been broken, and you need to give birth within 24 hours when your water is broken because of infection, and then the group B strep thing, and you need to have the antibiotics. It's like a whole big freaking to-do. So she tells me she's gonna put me on Cervidil to get things going. And I was just like, okay, like I don't really have a choice, like what am I gonna do? So she didn't put the Cervidil in that second, she was just like letting me know that basically I was gonna get it. And she was just like, you know, hang out here for a little while, and you're definitely, you know, we're admitting you because you're having this baby. She leaves, and another nurse comes in, not a nurse from like my practice or anything, it was just like a hospital nurse. And, you know, she was just like putting like the monitors on me and, you know, whatever to hear the baby's heartbeat, mine, and blah blah blah. So I asked her, I'm like, how is it that I was dilated? Oh no, I didn't ask her, I asked another nurse, but whatever, I'll just tell you now anyway. I asked the nurse, I'm like, how was it that I was dilated this much last week and now I'm this much? And she was like, well, was it the same person that checked you? And I was like, no, each time it's been a different person. She was like, well, that's why. Basically, it depends on who's checking you, how big their hands are, because, you know, they do it by their fingers. So she's like, how big their fingers are and how much they think, you know, whatever. So I was pissed off because I was like, this whole time I've been thinking that I was making progress being 3 centimeters and I was only fingertip dilated. Like, what the hell? So basically, finally they put me in the room, and the labor room was really beautiful. Like, oh my god, I have to say it's really nice. Not that when you're in labor you're thinking out the room at all, but you know, beforehand I was like, oh, this is a nice place to give birth. Get in the room, and I was starving, and I had to say, my boyfriend, when we were walking there, he's like, oh, you want to get like tacos or something? And I was like, what? Like, I can't eat before giving birth even though I was hungry. So then I regretted it when I was in the hospital because I was freaking starving, and I was like, I know they're not going to let me eat until I give birth, and it's like, I don't know how long I'm going to give birth. Some people are like in labor freaking 30 hours. Like, can you imagine not eating for that long? Like, what? I asked one of the nurses, I was like, oh, can I eat food? And she's like, well, what do you have? And I was like, well, I actually had some snacks in my bag, which I did. I had like cheese and crackers, and she's like, yeah, you can eat it. She was like, just hurry up. And I'm like, okay. So I ate it, but I was still hungry. So when the midwife came in, I was like, can I get like food or something? Like, cause I'm hungry. She's like, well, we don't really recommend that you eat because it might come up after, like I might like throw up or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. And she was like, but, you know, just go get soup or something. So my boyfriend went down to the cafeteria to get me soup, and he brought it up and I ate it. After I ate the soup, she inserted the Cervidil. Let me tell you, that shit, excuse my language, freaking hurt. Like, it was like she had her hand all the way up in there. I was like, what the hell is this? Basically, Cervidil is like a shoestring size medicine. I don't know. It's like this like thin string, and they insert it in you, and it softens your cervix basically to start labor up. So she put it in, and she was like, okay, for 2 hours you have to lay down. You can't walk around or anything. After that you can, just be careful, because I guess it partially hangs out of you. So I guess somehow it comes out. I don't know, whatever. So she put it in, and for the first maybe like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, I was like, oh, okay, it's not so bad. Like, I felt cramps, but they weren't that bad, so I was just like, oh, whatever, I could do this. Yeah, okay. By the second hour, I was like dying. They hurt so bad to the point that I had to call my mom. She wasn't there yet because she was at her house. So I was calling her, telling her like, oh my god, this hurts so bad. And you know, I had originally wanted to do naturally, so I don't know. Yeah, that went out the window, by the way. I was telling her, and she was like, you know what, you should just tell them now that you want the epidural, because sometimes it takes a long time for the anesthesiologist to get to you, because, you know, whatever, there's a lot of people, blah, 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 blah. I was like, okay, let me tell them now. So when they came in, I was like, just so you know, I want the epidural. And I was like, you know, just so you know. And the stupid freaking lady, okay, the midwife, was like, oh honey, you have a long way to go before getting the epidural. I was like, you fucking kidding me? So she was being kind of like standoffish. Like, even my boyfriend was like, she has something against you, I don't know what her problem is, blah blah blah. Because she wasn't being nice at all. And it's like, lady, you've done this all the time, you know this shit is painful, like, just give me a freaking break, like, at least be nice to me, you know, like, Jesus. She basically said no, and then I was like, okay, well, as soon as I can get it, I want it. So she was just like, yeah, whatever. She left. She came back to take out the Cervidil, and contractions were really, really painful. They were really close together already. And she's like, oh, you're not even having contractions, because they put this thing on your belly to monitor the contractions. You're not even having contractions. I was like, yeah, I am. I feel them. Like, how are you gonna tell me what I'm feeling? Like, get the hell out of here. They have the monitor there, right? And then the other nurse was there, and she was like, actually I see it a little bit. And I was like, it's not a little bit, it's a lot of bit, so something's going on here. So then they had to move the little thing around that was on my belly, and then they found that it was not picking up my contractions for some odd reason. They placed it wrong, or whatever the case was, and they didn't see my contractions. Once they saw the contractions, they're like, oh yeah, you're having contractions. I was like, no shit, I know I'm having contractions. Ah, God. Hours going by, basically I'm just laboring by myself, essentially. Like, they didn't really come check on me too much. I didn't even know how much dilated I was, because they weren't checking me. They were doing nothing. Literally, I just had these monitors on my belly, and I was like dying in pain, and I don't even know. Another midwife comes in, one that I really liked, and I was like, yay, because I guess the shifts changed because it went from day to night. So I was like, oh yeah, I was so excited that this midwife was now the midwife that was going to be delivering me, because I hated that other bitch. I'm sorry, but she was just not cute. Not cute. So the nice midwife comes, and she's like talking to me all nice, and I was like, I'm dying, oh yeah, you know, whatever. I was like crying, and she's like, okay, let's check you and see what's going on, blah blah. So she checked me, and she said I was about like 3-4 centimeters dilated, and I was like, oh my god, are you kidding me? Because obviously you have to be at 10 to give birth. So I was like, how the hell is this gonna happen? Like, I can't do this. Like, I'm dying. And I was like, I want the epidural. Like, I told the other one and whatever. And she was like, okay, let's get you the epidural so that you can relax, you know. And I was like, yes, please. It still took a while for the epidural guy to come. Literally, I don't even know the times of these things happening, honestly, because I was like, so, you're like in another world, I gotta be honest. Like, I can't really remember everything. I hope I'm telling the story correctly. It's kind of like a dream. After it happens, you're like, wait, did that just happen? Like, it feels like it happened like 3 years ago or something. It's so crazy, I can't explain it. Finally, the epidural guy came in after like a long time. I know I was screaming. I was like, why are they coming? Why isn't he coming? I was like, ow, ow. And my mom's like, try to focus on this. And I was like, what? And like trying to, you know, get through the contraction. I don't even know. He finally came, and basically You can only have one person in the room when they're doing the epidural, which is funny because I thought no one could be in the room. But yeah, so the guy was like, you know, anyone, if you have like a cough or, you know, whatever, you're a little sick, leave the room. Because I guess since they're injecting it into my spine, like it's dangerous for me. I don't know the whole thing. But basically my mom left because she was like, oh, I don't know, I feel like I have a little cold. So she left. My boyfriend stayed, and getting the epidural was like a process and is in and of itself. Is that the right thing? Right saying? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that was like a whole process. Because my contractions were so close together and so strong, like it was so hard for him to put it in because you have to stay completely still. Like that is no joke. That can mess you up. It can paralyze you if they do it wrong. Like it's very, very complicated and very dangerous, and that's originally why I wanted to do natural, because I was like, I don't want to do the risk. But honestly, once that pain hits, you're like, fuck it, I don't care, give me whatever you could give me. Like I remember he was like, sign the thing, and I was just like, I don't care, just like, come on, give it to me. Yeah, I had to sit on the edge of the table. They like lift the table up, like raise it up, I don't know. I thought I heard a baby, but I guess not. They lift the table up and I was sitting on the edge, and you have to like round your back like this, and the nurse was standing in front of me and I was like holding her waist basically to keep me like still. And he was like, okay, every time you feel the contraction go down, tell me, because then I'm gonna try to insert it. And I was like, okay. So it would go down and he was trying to insert, and I would feel it, like you feel it burning in your back. And as soon as he's putting it in, I'm like, okay, another one starting, and he's like, oh my god. Like he even was like surprised, because it's crazy how long it took them to get him to me. I mean, I think that the first midwife, now on Baby Center I saw that midwives tend to want you to labor more because then there's less risk of having interventions. I don't know, something like that. So they let me go a really long time, so by the time he got to me I was so far with my contractions, it was like insane. It took a really long time for him to do it because every time the contraction was going down, he was trying to do it, and then literally seconds later another contraction was starting, so it was like crazy. Eventually he got it in, whatever, and it was weird because, you know, they put it in, you lay down, he's like, okay, you're gonna feel like water going down your back, and I was like, oh, okay. It's so crazy, it really does feel like cold water like trickling down your spine. It's the craziest thing. So whatever, he did it. You know, a little while after it got better and I didn't have any pain, I felt great. I like updated my status. I was like, I just got the epidural. Like I was having fun. I was great. That was around like, I know that was around like 9:30ish because my Facebook status was updated, so I could see the time. 9:30 at night on the 27th. So I had the epidural and I was feeling great, and you know, I was chill. I was like, oh, I could do this. Like now, let's go. Let's have a baby. Yeah, until it started to wear off. It stopped working. I started to feel the contractions building up, building up, building up, building up, and they were worse, the worst pain I ever felt in my life. I was screaming again and I was crying and I was like, oh my god, like I don't understand. I have the epidural, why am I feeling this? I had to come back twice to up the dosage because for whatever reason, I don't know, I guess I'm short, right? I'm like 5'2", and he asked me how much I weighed and how short I was, or tall, but I'm short, so whatever. And you know, they do the dosage according to that, and I guess, I don't know, my body just didn't respond to whatever dose he gave me and I needed more. So he did it twice because he did the second time and it still didn't go away. And then he came back, another anesthesiologist came back and upped the dosage. But that was a long time in between. That wasn't like minutes, like it was like 2 hours or something like that, like where, you know, I was still feeling pain. So essentially it's almost like I had natural birth in a sense. In a sense. I know natural people are like, oh no, you said it. But my labor was essentially naturally because I only had the epidural for a little while and then it wore off. Then I had it again. It still didn't work. Then I had it again for when I was about to push. So I pushed, you know, with the epidural, but laboring, it was pretty much natural. I felt every freaking thing and it was terrible. The midwife came back once I had the epidural and she's like, oh, do you feel better? And I was like, yes, like finally it's working, you know, it wasn't working, blah, blah. She checks me and she was like, you're at 9 centimeters. And I was like, wow, I'm so excited. What is it? Oh, they were like, you're at rim. They call it at rim, 9 centimeters at rim. She's like, okay, so basically your job now is to just relax and, you know, just tell us when you feel the need to push. And I was like, okay. And she was like, basically it's gonna feel like you need to poop. And I was like, alright, like I could, you know, that's fine. For a long time I didn't feel anything. I was just chilling, like, I don't know, I felt some pressure, but the way they explained, like, oh, it's gonna feel like you need to poop, like, that's what I was going by. So if I didn't feel that, I was like, I'm not gonna say anything.